Hey guys, welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show. We give you all the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today is John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you from right here at the Collider Video Studios here in Burbank, California. And we are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Also here is Mark Ellis.
Hey, John went to Vegas this weekend, and I didn't. How was it, buddy?
I got some stories to tell.
Some stories on camera?
Yeah, I'll tell one of them in a second.
Ooh, also here, Kristian Harloff.
I'm just so excited that Mark just can't get away from How to Be a Latin Lover. Right there.
It's behind you again.
And it's like the guy, I don't know if they changed the poster, but it's like he's always looking at me. His eyes, though he's wearing sunglasses, follow me everywhere I go.
I don't think those are his eyes.
Now, look, let me tell this one story really quick because, look, first of all, just because I don't like something, that doesn't mean people shouldn't like something. Because I do like something doesn't mean other people should like it either. One of the things that is just not for me, but it's got a huge fan base out there, God bless them all, it's country music. And I know there's a lot of people love country. That's awesome. That's
very popular form of music.
Very popular form of music.
Very popular.
Not my cup of tea. That's fine. No problem. But it's funny because I was in Vegas this weekend, and a couple of friends of ours, Dorina and Nathan Hamill, actually was there with us. And we get this limo is coming to pick us up to take us someplace.
Ooh,
and
man.
Well, here's the thing, though.
I never get these invites.
Here's the thing.
Is this on Slack?
You just don't go to anything.
So the vehicle pulls up, this big SUV, and this kid who had to be about 90 pounds soaking wet,
Cody,
with a bit of a bowl cut and a little, I swear to God, this little cowboy hat. Gets out. I'm your ride, guys. We're like, okay, great. And I don't know if it was the way we were dressed, whatever, but something about us communicated to him that we loved the country music. Because when we got in that thing, man, he blasted this thing, a song I never heard of, but now it'll be stuck in my head forever. Something called "Dirt on My Boots."
Yippee-ki-yay!
It's a song about this guy who's coming to take his girl out that night, but don't mind if there's some dirt on my boots. And they just blared that thing. I think he had it on repeat. So that song, there's a country music song now.
You,
permanently
sir,
ingrained in
got
my
yourself
head.
an education because if you know anything about country music, it's football Friday, party Saturday, hallelujah Sunday.
All right, with that pointless story out of the way, let's move on with the first topic of the day.
Well, last week, Disney released an ambitious slate of films that will take up their release dates through the year 2020. And with those announcements came word that Star Wars Episode 9 will be headed back to its summer roots with a release date set for Memorial Day weekend on May 27, 2019. With their spin-offs also continuing in a young Han Solo movie coming in 2018 and more on the way, the question becomes what happens after Episode 9 in regards to the Saga films. Will Episode 9 finally tell the last Skywalker story in the series? Will the Star Wars saga end after Episode 9? John, do you think Episode 9 will be the last saga story in the Star Wars series?
You know, it's funny because I think we kind of moderately addressed this maybe on Jedi Council a number of months ago, right?
Yeah.
And at the time, my opinion was, no, that's utterly ridiculous. That is an utterly ridiculous notion that the episodic Star Wars run-through story that's going on stops. I mean, look, are we running out of Skywalkers? Yes. But I still reject the notion that the saga films have to be about Skywalkers. No, just because something has been about something up to a certain point doesn't mean it is therefore indebted to continue to be about one particular bloodline of family going on. The universe goes on. That was my point of view before. I still believe it doesn't have to be about the Skywalkers. But the fact that we haven't been hearing anything, and we've heard Kathleen Kennedy kind of suggest, we're not really sure if we're going to continue on. Now, maybe she's lying, maybe she's being a little bit coy, I don't know. But it seems like they have an awful lot of ideas for various anthology and spin-off films. And if they've got if they want to stick to their one-a-year schedule, and if they've got 5 great ideas and they don't want to spread those 5 out over 10 years, they'd rather get all 5 of them done in 5. You know what? I'm starting to think that maybe it's a possibility that after Episode 9, we may not see an episode, we will see an Episode 10. But I'm starting to suspect that maybe we won't see it for 3, 4, or 5 years. I don't know, Kristian, you've obviously been at the heart of this, keeping an eye on this whole thing. Where do you think we're at?
I think it's very possible that they take a break, and I wouldn't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think it'll be the end of the Skywalker saga at all because they have no plans to stop telling these movies, so it's silly to say, well, they'll never bring in another Skywalker ever again. They will, they could, and they should. But I also think
Han and Leia, I mean, understand where the characters are. They're not having any more kids.
no, but we don't know. But we don't know where it goes, who else is out there, how they can introduce new people in there. We also don't know what's happening in general with Kylo Ren, and he still carries the
Yep, that's
lineage.
true.
So we don't know. But I think that I still hold by it. I think that eventually they will do 2 a year, very similar to what Marvel does. I don't think it's coming anytime soon, and I think by not doing Saga Films, it allows them to kind of continue telling stories once a year and more stories in this vast universe. So I think that Saga Films will absolutely continue. I think they will take a break after Episode 9, but I don't think it's the last of the Skywalkers.
Mark, what do you think about all this?
Isn't it a great world we live in when we can't imagine a universe where we don't see at least one Star Wars movie a year, every year, until the end of time? But I agree with Kristian and John. I don't think that you're going to have Episode 10 for a little bit, and I think it's the right play. I don't need an Episode 10 2 years after we get Episode 9, because that's going to be the conclusion of this epic rebirth trilogy that we got from Star Wars. So we can put the pedal, we can hit the brakes on that for a little bit. We can have new stories that come in. I think you'll still see movies once a year, but the bigger question, which you brought up, John, is this is the end of the Skywalkers in the saga, and the big question there is, has Kylo Ren had sex? Has Kylo Ren popped his cherry? Has he created any offspring? Because that's the link. That's the only link left. Luke ain't making any more Jedi. Han and Leia are making any more Jedi, or Skywalkers for that matter. So unless Rey turns out to be a Skywalker, then it's all up to Kylo Ren. And
we don't know if Luke hadn't had kids also.
I'm pretty sure Luke didn't have kids.
How do you know that?
I didn't say I knew it, dude.
You
I
said
said
you're
I'm pretty sure.
How do you know that?
Well,
How are you
he's
pretty
Jedi.
sure?
They don't have sex. They don't masturbate.
And he seems awkward. I think
didn't
he's
work out for
socially
them.
awkward in a club. Like walking up to ladies is not
Yeah,
his thing.
I'm not saying that he necessarily did, but I don't think anybody should rule it out that it's definite that
I didn't say it was definite. I said I'm pretty sure.
That's close to definite.
Yeah, I am close to definite.
Right.
That Luke did not have sex.
I think you should not be pretty sure or close to definite that he doesn't have kids. It's possible he doesn't,
But here, part
we
of the
don't know.
discussion going on, I've seen online, is people saying, well, like the Skywalkers, Luke has to have kids because like they're just going to run out of Jedi. It's like, don't forget the lineage of the Jedi Knights for thousands of years. Jedi don't come from families of Jedi. There's a child is born who happens to be Force sensitive. The Jedi recognize that, go and bring them into their own numbers. Remember, the Jedi for a long time didn't procreate. So it's not like they had to have family lineage. Any child anywhere can be born Force sensitive, and the Jedi can continue. Now, do they continue with the Skywalker saga? That's another issue altogether. All right, what's next?
When the marketing campaign started for James Mangold's Logan, black and white images were released by the director and star Hugh Jackman, leaving many fans wondering if the movie was actually going to be in black and white. That didn't turn out to be the case, but now Mangold has revealed on Twitter that fans will be able to see a black and white version of Logan on a special theatrical release on Tuesday, May 16th. On Twitter, Mangold said, "Suggestion: hardcore B&W-loving Logan fans should not make any plans on the evening of May 16th. Won't be on a TV." And the answer is no. To make a great B&W version of a film, the whole thing's got to be regraded and timed shot by shot. Kristian, what do you think about a black and white version for Logan in theaters?
It's cool. I mean, you know, that's fun to do for fans. I mean, and I don't know if they necessarily had to put all the time and effort to do it for one night, but the fact that they're doing it, cool. I think it actually fits the style of the movie fairly well, but I don't think anybody was necessarily asking for it. But
Are you pretty sure nobody was asking for it, or do you think
close to
definite?
Close to definite, nobody was asking for it. Close to definite that I didn't know anyone else that was asking for it. Yeah.
It's a marketing gimmick. It's completely a marketing gimmick because this is not being done to have a special one night in theater. This is being done as another way to promote the home video release of the movie. That's all it is. It is a marketing stunt. It's a marketing gimmick. Personally, I thought Logan was a beautiful looking film. The way they used their color palette, the way they used all that richness, I thought when it was muted, when it was rich, when it was dense, when it was thin, I just thought it was a gorgeous film. And to just take the color out and re-release it, it is nothing more than a marketing gimmick. That's why it's being released when it's being released, but it's a really smart one. because it's getting everybody talking about it again. It's going to bring all the attention back to this movie, attention that this movie completely deserves. So it's nothing but a marketing gimmick, but to me, it's a brilliant marketing gimmick. What do you think?
Well, John, take my hand and walk down this road with me, because there's another marketing gimmick where they eliminated colors from a movie that I thought really enjoyed having that palette, and that was Mad Max Fury Road. They re-released it in theaters in black and white, and I didn't see it, but people who saw it said it was amazing. It was like, they're like, oh, this is the way that it should have been released the first time. I wouldn't say that, but it's interesting that they do that with these movies that seem to have the same feel. Like this dystopian Western vibe that we're going for. Oh, let's put that movie in black and white. I think it's kind of cool. It's different. If you're one of the lucky people that's going to see it that night, just don't be that guy at the bar for the rest of your life where it's like, oh, you didn't see Logan in black and white. You're not a real fan unless you saw Logan in black and white. You don't need to see it, but cool.
All right, what's next?
It's Monday, which means it's time for the weekend box office report. Taking in an estimated $19.3 million, Fate of the Furious took the #1 spot at the box office for the third straight weekend, with a domestic total now at $192.7 million and crossing $1 billion worldwide. How to Be a Latin Lover took the #2 spot with an estimated $12 million, while out of nowhere, great India film sequel Bahubali 2, The Conclusion, took the #3 spot with $10.1 million, playing in only 425 theaters, 3 times as much as the opening for the 2015 original. Finishing in the #4 spot was STX's The Circle, delivering $9.3 million from 3,163 theaters. And in the #5 spot was The Boss Baby, which dropped 29% in its 5th weekend, delivering an estimated $9.05 million, as its domestic cume is now just under $150 million. Mark, thoughts on the weekend box office report?
I'll go back to my southern roots to pronounce that name. Bahubali 2, The Conclusion. Woo! Screen count doesn't matter anymore. Doesn't matter how many screens your movie opens on. If it's got a following, it's going to make a lot of money. That's what we saw this weekend with both Bahubali 2 and How to Be a Latin Lover. I went to the AMC Burbank yesterday to check out a flick called The Circle. And that movie didn't do as well as these other 2 films that open on far less screens, but you have such a passionate fan base that wants to come see these movies. So all those billboards that they put up for How to Be a Latin Lover 2 around town, they worked. That movie opened in just over 1,000 screens and made $12 million. But Bahubali 2, 425 screens that movie played on. It made $10 million, an average of $23,000 per screening. That is remarkable to me, and not to be undersold as a movie that came in at 14th place, but it's also a new movie called Slate. I watched that last night. It cost less than $1 million to make. It made almost $2 million on just 565 screens. So all these movies that open on 4,000 screens or 3,000 screens, it's not always the best indicator of how a movie is going to do opening weekend. And here's another fun little nugget, is that Bahubali 2, its running time, 2 hours, 47 minutes. That thing is almost 3 hours, and it still managed to pull in $12 million on that little screens, John.
And an interesting bit of contrast, whereas Bahubali 2 pulled in like $23,000 per screen, The Circle, with Tom Hanks and Emma Stone and John Boyega and all that kind of stuff, made under $3,000 per screen. Now, that's not to say if you put Bahubali 2 on 4 times as many screens, it would have made 4 times as much money. No, at 400 and something screens nationwide, that pretty much means you probably lived near a theater somewhere that was playing it if you wanted to go see it. But it's impressive. I remember a couple years ago when we were still with AMC, AMC was starting a really smart strategy at the time to really do targeting of Bollywood films and and other foreign market films that they wanted to run more in North America. It looks like they were seeing the future a little bit, getting something like this. Now, I don't know. Ashley, do I need to see Bahubali 1 to understand what's going on in Bahubali 2?
Well, my cousin said that you probably should.
So there you go. So make sure you get it on home video first. What do you think, Kristian?
I think that obviously the one that stands out is Bahubali for exactly what Mark was talking about. The amount of theaters that it's in and that it made $10.1 million is incredible. And you have to also give it up to How to Be a Latin Lover, because that is also not marketed
Fantastic result.
Yeah, great result. Not marketed to the mass audience. A lot of people are like, what the hell is that? But yet, #2 and #3 are movies you hadn't heard of. And they also put them out in smart release dates. This is right before the summer release boom. You're getting Guardians this week. You're going to get all these big summer movies, and these smaller movies, this is where you have to hit. And Fast and the Furious is going to end their kind of run in the top 2 or 3 they'll probably maybe hit number 2 or 3 this coming week.
Oh, it'll be at least third.
I mean, it'll catch some of the runoff of Guardians.
Yeah, the
also,
Guardians.
so.
I think King Arthur will
Yeah.
top $20 million.
Circle is a huge disappointment when you have talent of that caliber. Boss Baby is hanging in there because it's the only family film that you kind of have right now. So these results, take away the 2 surprises here from these smaller films no one heard of, and the fact that they were able to do that is a big accomplishment for these smaller films, and should be encouraging to a lot of filmmakers also. So that's my take.
I want to give Boss Baby a little bit more credit because a lot of us, myself included, will often just say, well, Boss Baby because it's a kids film and it's going to make money. Hey, look, the Smurfs is out. Smurfs is out, animated kids film. That film in 4 weeks has made $37 million.
Yeah.
All right, Boss Baby in 5 weeks has made $148 million domestically. I mean, so I still haven't seen it though.
I also think Neil Patrick Harris and the crew killed Smurfs. Like by putting out
maybe,
all those live action films.
that thing had no shot after those
chance.
two movies.
It just had sullied the name, to be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe they might have needed to wait another couple of years before trying Smurfs again.
They smurfed it up, John.
All right, guys, we've reached that part of the show now for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her ass, she's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
2 new TV spots for Wonder Woman were released over the weekend, reminding fans that the movie is now only 1 month away from its debut. The long-awaited standalone film for Diana Prince features Gal Gadot as the goddess, warrior, and legend, with one spot featuring a small glimpse of the main villain in the movie, Ares, the god of war. The film also stars Robin Wright, Danny Houston, Connie Nielsen, David Thewlis, and Saeed Taghmaoui. It's directed by Patty Jenkins and hits theaters on June 2nd. John, buy or sell the new TV spots for Wonder Woman?
I'm going to buy them. I'll buy them. Look, I think this movie is going to be great. I really do. I think this is going to be great. I think it's going to be the first, I said this before, I'm going to stand by it. I think it's going to be the first DCEU film that gets 75% or higher on Rotten Tomatoes. Because, the director involved is a little more isolated and stuff like that. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here. I still have huge question marks about Gal Gadot's acting ability. That is not a secret. But one of the things that the trailer reminded me of, think what you want about the movies themselves between the DCEU and Marvel. The scores of the DCEU films kick the shit out of anything that's been in Marvel films so far. The scores are awesome. I was actually listening to the Wonder Woman musical score last night, driving home last night, because it was a long-ass drive.
Is there any country music in it, John?
There was no twanging nor dirt on boots
No banjo.
in this particular soundtrack. The soundtrack is awesome. Like, just amazing to listen to. It just gets you ramped up. So then watching the TV spots and hearing bits of that soundtrack really gets me excited. So yeah, I'm going to buy the TV spots. What do
I'm not like you and Harloff where I hear a score in a commercial and I'm like, oh, I need to listen to that. If it doesn't have an electric guitar in it, it's like white noise to me. But having said that, these trailers, I watched them, and the first time I watched them, I was like, okay, yeah, they were cool. And then I tried to look at them again, but through the spectrum of not having seen the other trailers that we've seen. Because we've seen a lot of good marketing material already for Wonder Woman. We're all very excited about it. And just watching these promos as something that's going to be coming on TV all over the place for the next month in anticipation of the movie, these are really well done when you're trying to sell this movie to people who they might need to be reminded that Wonder Woman is coming out the first weekend of June. I think they did a great job. It was hard. I had to watch it like 5 times to catch Ares. Like that was a chore to be like, oh yeah, that's the second and a half where we might see what could be Ares. But other than that, I think the movie looks great, and I think that these trailers do a good job of selling us on the picture, particularly if we haven't seen a lot of marketing material already.
Kristian.
I like both the trailers. I think both the spots, but it's nothing different than what we've been seeing leading up. I think that it's standard marketing as we get closer. These little TV spots, just taking out kind of the best moments to kind of represent what this movie is. And you get it. It's the first time we're seeing Wonder Woman on the big screen in her own movie. So we see a little bit of the action. We see a little bit of the story, the love story, but then you see a little bit more of that humor that DC's trying to put into their movies now, which they are making a push to show that that's going to be in there. And I thought it all worked for sure. So I'm going in very hopeful for this movie, and we'll see.
But something else about these trailers is that unlike when you saw the Batman v Superman TV ads leading up to the release of the movie, or even Suicide Squad, this doesn't feel like, hey, we're showing you the entire movie.
Right.
And I like that. That gives me much more confidence than anything else.
Well, we're still in May.
We're still in May, but it's like they're not showing us the entire third act, and that's cool. It's like, oh, they know we're gonna go see this movie, so we get some surprises in the theater. I'm looking forward to that.
All right, what's next?
Deadline is reporting that a remake for Stephen King's classic Firestarter is on the way, with Oscar winner Akiva Goldsman directing and producing alongside Blumhouse's Jason Blum. In Firestarter, a young girl develops pyrokinetic abilities and is abducted by a secret government agency that wants to harness her powerful gift as a weapon. Universal is also involved in development with Blumhouse and Goldsman as the studio released the first feature adaptation of the film in May of 1984, which starred Drew Barrymore and was directed by Mark L. Lester. The news comes on the heels of a fantastic 2017 for Blumhouse, which has made close to $500 million worldwide from both Split and Get Out. A release date for Firestarter has not been set. Mark, buy or sell a new Firestarter remake produced by Blumhouse Pictures?
I'll buy it, Ashley, because I heard Blumhouse Pictures, and they tend to do pretty good work, whether they acquire films or they engineer them themselves. Actually, Slate, the movie I saw yesterday, was a Blumhouse faction that produced and put that movie out. So I'm excited that Blumhouse likes it, because I usually like stuff that they like. And Firestarter is a neat story that you can tell, and it's got like a midnight special feel to it, where the government is after a kid with special powers. I've never seen the first Firestarter, but our VHS copy when I was a kid that we taped from TV, A Flight of the Navigator, had a preview, I believe, for Firestarter also on TV coming on, and my parents wouldn't let me watch it because it was a little girl setting fire to stuff, and they maybe thought that I might take after that.
I'm going to buy this. You're right. Blumhouse they don't make mistakes. Like, so far, they just do not make mistakes. And they've never gotten ahead of themselves either. Like, they've always stayed within the kind of realm that has been really successful for them. Smaller projects, developing them, picking them up, whatever. I think in the coming years, you're going to see them expand a little bit more. Maybe Firestarter is going to be our first taste of that. I really enjoyed the first Firestarter, though as a little kid, freaked the hell out of me. But it was because not only was it a dream, I think George C. Scott was in that as well. He was terrific in it. I like the original, and I like the studio doing it, so for me, it's a buy.
Yeah, I'm going to buy it also, because I think remakes, a lot of times what they do with remakes is they're remaking movies that are super popular, and these big, huge movies that a lot of times we say, yeah, you don't touch those movies. Firestarter had its audience for sure, but it's not one that a lot of people have seen. I think that if you get someone like with Blumhouse or with Akiva Goldsman doing it, that's a remake. I can say, okay, that's interesting that you're going to try to do that, because it's got a good premise. It's been a long time since the movie came out. They could do a lot of new things with it, and like you guys are saying, the limited budget of what Blumhouse can do and their ability to turn a profit, it makes sense.
Yeah, they do a great job with that. All right, what's next?
Doing what he does best, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson took to Instagram.
It's not too far off. It's not too far off.
This weekend to share plot details on his latest film, Rampage. Based on the arcade game of the same name, the movie will tell the story of monsters destroying cities, with a cast that includes The Rock, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Malin Ackerman, Joe Manganiello, and Moonlight Oscar nominee Naomi Harris, trying to stop them. Sharing the plot on his Instagram, The Rock wrote,
Now, hang on, because this is great. Pay very close attention. This is awesome.
I head up an anti-poaching unit out of Rwanda. My best friend is a rare albino gorilla named George.
Yes!
Very bad people infect George, an alligator, and a wolf with a serum. All three animals grow at an unprecedented rate. Their size, speed, agility, and violent aggression is off the charts. They go on a deadly rampage and want to destroy the world. George not happy, me not happy. When animals like you, they lick you. When they don't like you, they kill you. I will hunt down the bad people who did this to my best friend, and when I find them, I will not lick them. Kristian, buy or sell the plot details shared by The Rock for Rampage.
Who the hell doesn't buy this? It's amazing. I mean, when you hear that they're making this movie, like, how the hell are they going to do a movie about Rampage with these three gigantic creatures just smashing and breaking things? And The Rock goes, like this. He's like, we're not going to take it that seriously. We're going to goof around. We're going to say it is an over-the-top action movie about three animals that are wrecking shit, and I'm going to help do that also. I love the way he approached it. I love the way he basically said, this is going to be one of those fun, stupid, hit yourself in the head with a hammer movies, and watch it. And yeah, I love those comments. I thought they were great.
It's just, if they like you, they like you. That sounds like something that Knapsack would put on his Tinder profile. I mean, it just sounds super. Like, this coming out of anybody else's mouth is gibberish.
Right.
Coming from The Rock.
Well, it's still gibberish. It's just fun gibberish.
It's awesome. Coming out of The Rock's mouth. This is awesome. Me not happy. This sounds great. And you know what? What else should a Rampage movie be, if not just utterly ridiculous and fun? If they tried to take this even 1 ounce seriously, I think they'd be doomed from the start. This sounds like the perfect direction for me. It's a buy.
It's a huge buy. I mean, the only thing I want to see more than a Rampage trailer is no Rampage trailers, and in their place, just 2 minutes of The Rock behind like a white background, just telling us the premise of the movie. That's all we need to sell it, as he did so eloquently on his Twinch the Book page. It was awesome to watch that. I think that he's one of these rare guys that can take any premise, any plot. You know what they should do? They should have The Rock try to sell us other movies. Like, they should have The Rock describe a premise of a movie like Cowboys versus Dinosaurs or Sharknado Park 8 and see if we'll buy it, because there's nothing this guy can tell me that I will not sign up for immediately.
All right, guys. Well, listen, I want to remind you that we're doing the show live, and as we do them live, we like to save a little bit of time at the end of the show to take your live Twitter questions. You can start firing in those questions now. Just make sure you're following us on Twitter at Collider Video. Fire those questions in, and Wendy will pick a bunch. I think we're going to have some extra time for a few extra questions today. I'm excited about that. But I also want to remind you that Movie Talk is not the only show on Collider Video today. As a matter of fact, a little bit earlier today, all this week, Collider TV Talk is live at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're doing it daily, Monday through Friday, all this week. It's a little experiment we're doing to see what you guys think about it. So please participate with us. Miss it live, not a problem. It's on the channel right now. Go and check it out and let us know what you think about it. The crew put on a great show this morning. I think you're going to want to check that out.
They got up early enough to do it. Like,
they really did.
I got here at 7:45, and I was like, Mark Gell's going to be the first one in the office today. There's all these cars parked. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Oh, yeah, live TV talk.
Should we address the elephant in the room?
Well, I'll get to that in one second.
Right.
I also remind you guys that every Friday, of course, a brand new Awesome-tacular with Jeremy Johns goes up. Make sure you check that out. A brand new behind-the-scenes and bloopers episode going up this weekend as they go up every weekend. This one's a little bit special. It's looking at the behind the scenes of what goes on in a day in the life of the movie Trivia Schmodown, so you want to check that out too. Now, go on the elephant in the room, as you will.
Yeah.
Now, of course, a lot of you guys remember we had this little show that we were doing that we really enjoyed called Crash Course, but, you know, we had to stop the series at that one point. And there were a couple of fans who reached out to Kristian, said, you know, they were really heartbroken over the demise of Crash Course, and they had their own idea for Crash Course. And
yeah, and there were interesting meetings that we took, and John and I listened, and we said, oh, that's interesting. And they said, okay, well, I'm glad you're a fan. And then we got the call. It's going up. The Captain Learning channel it's going up, and we're going to put that on the air. And we said, okay. And so Captain Learning is coming.
It was funny because Dennis was in that room too. He was there for that pitch meeting, and without saying a word, he just got up and walked out of the room.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's up until now he has
Nepotism
refused
is a
to
biatch.
discuss it. So we're putting that up. Check that out a little bit later today. Captain Learning goes online. All right, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at collidervideo@gmail.com. We take a couple questions throughout the week here, Monday through Friday, but we also take them on our mailbag show on the weekends. So, Ashley, what is in the mailbag today?
Jonathan writes, hey Collider, so I'm a huge fan of the Dark Tower books, and I have read all of them at least twice. I was really excited about the movie, but now I don't know because there seems to be no idea of a trailer, and the more it goes on, the more I worry Sony isn't happy with the movie. So I wondered if they should have made a Game of Thrones type TV series about it. Do you think that would have been better for the property? If the movie bombs, will a TV show be dead?
I don't think it has any place as a TV show, to be honest. I think the property is suited for theatrical films, personally. Look, somebody was asking me like 2 months ago, should we be worried that there's no Dark Tower trailer? I said, of course not. Lots of time. 2 more months pass. We still don't have it. Now, look, we are 3 months away. And look, even if the movie was terrible, which there's no reason to think that it is, but even if it was, there's nothing stopping the studio, if they wanted a trailer out right now, to cut together a bunch of footage to make a great looking trailer, even if the movie was bad. So I kind of reject the notion that the reason we don't have a trailer right now is because the studio's worried about the film, because they could put out a great trailer anyway. I am choosing to believe, while I am scratching my head about them not having a trailer out yet. Let's not forget, John Wick put out his first trailer 1 month before the movie came out. That is a rare case. Yes, it's very rare. But I am choosing to believe at this point that this is just part of their marketing strategy, that they might be wanting to go hard and quickly when it comes to their marketing strategy. Like maybe get in there with 8 weeks to go and then do a really full court press marketing campaign. So they don't, like, a lot of times I think a couple of years ago, we started to see trailers come out further and further in advance, 6 months out, 8 months out, a year out, whatever. But I think what the studios are realizing is that they are losing any momentum that they get from those pretty quickly. Like, that's great. You had a trailer at 9 months before the movie came out. Ultimately, that did nothing for you. And I think what we've been starting to see in the last 2 years is that window, overall, there's still some exceptions. You're seeing that window shrink a bit, and I think that's for the better. I just think within the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to have the first trailer. I just think that this is part of their strategy. They don't want to blow their proverbial load too early. They want to get a little bit closer, full court press marketing, and that's what's going on. But even I am scratching my head a little bit at this point. Kristian, what do you think?
It's definitely interesting. When's the actual release date for it? I'm sorry.
It's early August. I think
August?
August 4th, yeah.
I mean, look, because if it's a summer film, I think holding off a little bit isn't a bad idea. Like I said before, when you have things like Guardians coming out, Wonder Woman coming out, all these movies that are coming out with is going to have these big audiences behind it, and Dark Tower, certainly people are going to be excited about. It doesn't have the same kind of mass audience that these other movies do. So you can start marketing and pitching it a little later than most in order to not get buried by all these other big movies and big trailers. I think that a lot of times, yes, you're right, 6 months out, they usually give you one. But like John said, those usually, oh yeah, I remember when that first trailer came out, and then it's lost. It might be a new way to kind of pitch it or do it or market it to where, like you're talking about with John Wick 2. Let's see how it goes. And as far as what you're asking in the television series, it's too hard to say right now when you say, well, yeah, you're right. We didn't have a trailer out, so just make it a TV show. We haven't seen the movie yet. So when the movie comes out, though, that's a discussion that absolutely could happen, because it's as detailed as it is, then maybe it could have been a good one-off, mini-series. But we won't be able to tell until the film comes out in August.
Yeah, we could cook up some sort of speculation like, well, the poster dropped, weeks ago. And usually you get the poster and then the trailer. So we got the poster, then they saw the trailer. They're like, oh, no, the trailer's not ready. We don't like what you did with it. So they had to go back and retool it, which personally I don't really care about. I mean, I think you're more concerned about the culture than the actual advertising of the movie, because generally we're used to seeing trailers earlier. I still think it'd be a good marketing strategy for them to release a trailer this week, because this is the week that officially kicks off summer with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So the old school way we saw trailers is in a movie theater, and if you want to get that in front of a lot of people who are movie-going audiences, you start this weekend by running the Dark Tower trailer and all the big summer movies leading up to August. It doesn't make me panic, because trailers don't make you any money, and the Dark Tower might sell a lot of books, but it's not selling a lot of toys. So you don't need to see trailer after trailer after trailer for the Dark Tower. Once you have that trailer drop, it's got to grab us pretty good, but I'm not that concerned about it. As far as the TV series go, I actually think it's the way that they should have gone, because there's like 8 different novels that are in the Dark Tower series. Each one of them a digestible 250 to 350 pages. Unlike something like The Stand, which was over 800 pages, they made a miniseries out of it. I think you could have done a really great television or Netflix adaptation of all the Dark Tower properties. Hopefully the movie does well and we get more Dark Tower stories, because I'm up for it.
All right, well, folks, I said we'd save a little bit of time at the end of the show to take your live Twitter questions, and we're going to do that right now. Once again, make sure you're following us on Twitter, @Collider Video, firing your questions, and Wendy will pick her favorites out. So, Wendy, what have you picked out today?
The first one comes from Matt Bosch, who writes, is the writer's strike going to affect your content, and if so, what is your plan B?
Well, I mean, will it affect our content? No, fortunately. It's not going to affect us whatsoever. Will it affect the industry? We saw in the last writer's strike, which I wish both of these sides remembered, and it had a drastic effect on a lot of different things. Some TV shows got flat out ruined. Some movies got really compromised. Everybody lost a lot of money on both sides of the aisle. So I don't know why anybody thinks this is going to be great. I wish both sides, and I'm not picking a side here. I'm just saying I wish both sides would realize this isn't good for any of us. We should make this a deal work. And there will be an effect, but fortunately, it's not really going to affect us here.
I mean, hopefully the good news is that whereas both sides were not talking at all a couple weeks ago, they got back on the table last week, and they've had somewhat amicable negotiations since then. I hope that continues this week, and we get it put to bed, because I don't want to see another writer's strike. The last one was disastrous on a number of facets, to a number of careers, and certainly to a much lesser extent to the quality of movies that we paid to go see. But if it continues ad nauseum this time, again, it could affect the news cycle to the point when you're not talking about projects being greenlit, because you're still worried about getting the writer's strike resolved. We'll still have plenty of stuff to gab about here on Movie Talk, and trust me, if there isn't a lot of news, we've had those days before. We can cook up something just fine. But it does make me panic in the sense that I hate when these strikes happen, because it kills careers. It kills hopes. It kills dreams. I don't like when things do that, such as a strike. Reality's going to do that to a lot of people anyway. Let's not let a strike do that to people who are worthy.
All right, Kristian really has nothing substantive to add to this.
Nope.
So let's move on.
This next one, are you not gonna have your input?
No, John did that for a reason.
No, I just. Oh, that's right.
He didn't hear the question. He ran to the
I ran to the
bathroom.
Sorry.
almost got
I
out of it.
ruined the whole
Almost got out
facade.
of
We almost made it out scot-free.
Almost made it.
How was your pee, Kristian?
It was great.
Tell the world.
Wendy out of me.
For
Thanks,
real. Tyler writes, if Blade Runner 2049 is successful, will they make a third one so it becomes a Blade Runner trilogy?
I don't think one of their focuses is, can we get a trilogy out of it? They're definitely looking, can we like reignite a franchise? Absolutely. Look, every movie that every studio puts out, 99% of the time, there are some exceptions, they want to be hugely successful so they can franchise the damn thing. If this movie is really successful, critics love it, audiences love it, and the box office reflects that, you're damn right. You're going to hear an announcement pretty damn quick about doing another one. And Ridley Scott will probably stop. Well, I don't know. Ridley Scott might become very, very busy between producing one and directing another and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you'll see them wanting to do more.
Sure. I mean, I don't know what kind of room that it's going to leave open for a sequel. Still haven't seen the first Blade Runner, so I don't know what kind of room that's set up for a sequel. But if it makes a lot of money, there's going to be interest in the property. I think maybe new characters that have a spark. We want to see more of them as opposed to Harrison Ford, who probably would not come back for another Blade Runner movie. It'll be interesting to see, but this one's got to do well first.
I did wash my hands. Someone's asking me. But look, there's a reason why you put Ryan Gosling in this thing also, is because I don't think Harrison Ford's going to do another one. I think he's done after this. But I think that if it does really well and you have someone like Ryan Gosling in your franchise, and of course you can carry it out and do more. And if Ridley Scott wants to tell more stories, he'll tell more stories. And they might not even need him if he wants to give his blessing and they take it somewhere else. But yeah, anytime a movie like this that already had a first one and it didn't do very well in the theaters, the original Blade Runner, but it's got a cult following, obviously. Excuse me. But I think that you will absolutely see a third one if it does very well and if Ryan Gosling wants to come back.
I am fascinated to see how well this thing does opening weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not coming out in the heat of the summer, but this could do great business. This could really eat it at the box office. It's anything is in play with Blade Runner 2049.
All right, what's next?
This one comes from Rocky Drago 66, who writes, thoughts on Granite Mountain and Soldado switching from Lionsgate to Sony, and it looks like, according to Variety, that it's Black Label has reached a deal with Sony to take over the distribution for the two action films.
Yeah, so this is just breaking news right now, and I'm sure we'll cover it a little bit more on Movie Talk tomorrow once we've had a chance to digest this. This is surprising. Sicario was a valued film at Lionsgate. I know Lionsgate really liked having Sicario, so where the problem broke down, right now there are initial reports saying that Lionsgate, the distributor, and the production company could not agree on release dates and marketing strategies for it. Now, it's important to keep in mind, too, it's not like Sicario was a $1 billion film. It wasn't even a $100 million film. It's a film that in North America made under $50 million in North America, and worldwide, like all the worldwide, including North America, made under $100 million. But still, I know Lionsgate did value the film, so it is interesting to see them as. I don't know much about Granite Mountain, so I can't really speak to that. Maybe it's just a part of the collateral damage of the fact of the Sicario sequel falling through. But I don't know, you're hearing about this right now for the first time. Initial thoughts?
It's interesting, especially that another movie like Sicario that had a lot of critical praise to it.
Yeah, and audiences
people really
liked
enjoyed it. I don't know where it broke down, what happened, and maybe there was particular conversations that had started earlier about that. Maybe that was always kind of the plan, and because a lot of times these business deals have been talked about for a very long time before they go through. So yeah, it's curious, and I'm sure we'll learn more details as it comes to be.
It's because Lionsgate doesn't want to do anything that's not singing musicals anymore. They crushed it with La La Land. They read the scripts for the new Sicario movies. There's no singing in those movies. Well, there's not even music in those movies, I don't think. Was there a score for Sicario? You score heads?
Score? Yeah, of course.
Was it good?
It was decent.
A lot of country
western. It was really good, actually. Yeah. Oh, no, it wasn't. That's soundtracks.
Dirty Boots.
Also soundtrack. But no, the score was really
on
good.
my boots.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're not dirty boots. There's just some dirt on there.
Yes.
Just spit on it and clean it up.
All right. I was going to say something, but I'm not. Okay, what's next?
Oh boy.
You just did.
This next one comes from Jay Patel, who writes, "You're lost in a jungle
Dev
being
Patel?
hunted by bad guys. Who do you want to protect you, John Rambo or John Matrix?"
That's a tough one.
In a jungle, I want Rambo. I want Rambo. If it's an urban warfare scenario, I probably want John Matrix. But if it's in a jungle, I want John Rambo.
I don't know, man. That's tough. I mean, you saw what John Matrix did to that whole. I mean, he took out an island. I mean, a full island.
John Matrix took out a whole country. However, he had to go to a sporting goods store to load up on supplies.
And
whereas
Rambo did with arrows.
Rambo could do it with his fingernail. I mean, I think Rambo's just a little more resourceful. No offense to your boy. I think he's a little
No,
more
I know it's a
resourceful.
tough one. They're both my boys. Man, and then we don't know. The reason I'll go with Rambo is because he was a one-off. Matrix was a one-off. He just really did that one thing. As we're a little more experienced with John Rambo, and Rambo was smart in his older years. He wasn't just trying to run around still. He just got on the back and just shot that cannon for a while.
I might take it back, though, because John Matrix, I think, would be up for an adventure. Rambo, you spend half the movie trying to sell the guy on the fact that, hey, can you please help me get out of the jungle? And he's just going to be like, I don't really do that anymore.
I ate
It's like,
green berets for breakfast.
see, this guy, yeah, Matrix will help you out of the jungle, like, willingly.
Yeah.
Of course, a big question that comes up though is Alyssa Milano in danger? Because if she's in danger in that jungle, maybe that changes.
John, is
my-
Alyssa Milano never not in danger?
That's a very good point. All right, what's next?
Louise writes, "Who decides release dates of a movie, and why are all Marvel movies released 1 to 2 weeks before the U.S.?"
Dennis decides it.
Generally speaking, there are exceptions. Generally speaking, the distribution company makes the decision as to when a movie will be released because they're the distributors of it. Sometimes you get a situation like Marvel where they are the production company and the distributor at the same time, in which case it's a wash. But generally speaking, the distribution company decides. Anything you guys want to add to that?
That was pretty good, John.
All right. I did good.
Your
What's
dirty
next?
boots get my sign off.
Will you spit on them and clean them up?
All right, this next one comes from, Logan, who
just
writes,
giggling over there.
"Does it ever bother you to see actors or actresses from either DCEU or MCU cross over to the other cinematic universe?"
Why? I don't understand why anybody think that's an issue or that's a problem. It's like, wait a minute, that guy played a Secret Servant agent in this movie, but now he's playing a chef in a different movie in a different what? They're actors in movies. Who cares about like this cinema? I think audiences have developed this artificial, like different kind of ecosphere with Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, DC Cinematic Universe, as opposed to all of Elsevier. No, it's just different studios making different movies. There's no different sets of laws governing the two at all, nor should there be.
No, I think it's probably also stemmed from the Josh Brolin thing. You know, he's
Yeah.
Thanos and now he's Cable. I think in that particular circumstance, he's such a good actor, you're probably not even going to realize it because he's going to be so heavily made up as Thanos, and then you'll see him in a kind of different look with Cable. And Chris Evans certainly was able to make it work with Fantastic Four and then
Yep.
Captain America. No, I think that there's certain actors that wouldn't be able to do it. It would be harder for us to accept, but I don't think it should be a rule for everyone.
It would be weird to see Robert Downey Jr. as Commissioner Gordon, but
Right.
as far as Josh Brolin and Cable goes,
See, now I want that. That's a great idea. I want that. Yeah, Graham up a little
I would actually be up
bit.
for that too. It'd be weird, but I'd be up for it. But Brolin is going to be Cable in Deadpool 2, and Deadpool 1 has somebody that successfully made that crossover, and that's the most noticeable time it's ever been because Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool made fun of the fact that he at one time was Green Lantern. So if you can have that much fun with the character you used to play while you're playing the new character, we should all be jumping sides constantly. It's a lot of fun.
All right, what's next?
This next one comes from Ryan, who writes, "Over or under 50% that Josh Gad has a cameo in The Last Jedi?"
You know what? Some theories are just ridiculous. This is not a completely ridiculous theory. Obviously, Josh Gad is connected with Star Wars Universe. He's put out those great little viral videos with him and Daisy Ridley. Those are great. He ends up being the moderator at Star Wars Celebration for the Episode 8 panel. We've had, whether it's Daniel Craig or whether it's Simon Pegg, we've had actors do small little hidden roles, and in that, I'm going to take the over on 50%. That somewhere, whether we recognize him or not, that Josh Gad is somewhere in there. I'm going to take the over.
I'm going to go under on 8, over on 9. I think that he started getting involved in the whole with the Daisy Ridley campaign, everything when shooting was over with, and I think that they did ask him to moderate because of those Instagram videos, and I think that he will absolutely be asked to do a cameo in 9.
You think absolutely? You think definitely?
Definitely,
He's
not
going to
definitely.
be asked.
Not definitely.
I think that
It's possible.
There's the chance that he could be. I will say definitely, if he is in that, whoever he's playing, whether he's playing like a Muppet or he's playing Unkar Plutt's little brother, he will definitely have had more sex than Luke Skywalker the last 30 years.
All right, last question of the day.
All right, this one comes from Juho, who writes, is it difficult to stay objective when reviewing films for a living, particularly films in franchises you personally cherish?
No, I mean, look, here's a great example. Nothing I love more in the realm of cinema than Star Wars. But if something in Star Wars comes out that I don't like, I'm not going to say I like it just because it's Star Wars, just because that label's on it. I'm going to say I don't like that, whether it's a prequel movie or whether it's an episode of Rebels, and because I like the show Rebels, but there are episodes I think that stink. I mean, so no, look, you go into a film every time, and your expectations are definitely affected by whether or not you have an already previous love or hate for a particular franchise. Your expectations are totally like that. But as long as you're like even semi-intelligent, you go into the movie, leave all that baggage at the door, and then just watch the movie and then try to evaluate the movie for the movie. So, I mean, personally, for me, it's not really an issue at all. I don't know, Mark, what about you?
No, I mean, I'm a human being, John, so when I go into a movie, I might be rooting for something more.
Sure, yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I wanted to like The Circle. I like every cast member involved. I thought it was a cool premise. I'm going in there, I got my popcorn, and I'm like, this is going to be a good movie, damn it. I don't care what everybody else is saying. This is going to be a good movie. But sure enough, 30 minutes in, your critic hat starts to come on, and it's like, God, I can't do this anymore. I cannot do this anymore. How much longer do we have?
Yeah, I mean, you always want movies to be good. You don't go out rooting for something to stink.
Yeah.
And so Independence Day 2 is a perfect example of that. Like,
We were so psyched for that.
we all went, a bunch of us. I really was excited to see that movie, and all I wanted it to be was a fun, popcorn, stupid movie, and it sucked to high heaven. It was so bad. I couldn't believe how bad it was, and I had to automatically just realize that, all right, now you just got to look at this thing, call it what it is, and that's how you do that with everything. And I say it, like, it's so funny in the comments, people won't, anything Star Wars, like, oh, you're going to love it no matter what. I didn't love Rogue One. I thought it was okay. I thought that the score itself was bad. I talked about that. There are parts of Rogue, I liked Force Awakens better. Sorry. I know you didn't. But I certainly thought it was a good movie. But I'm not going to, I went in there, and same thing with Force Awakens. When I saw The Force Awakens, I wanted to absolutely love it. I thought it was good. I still don't think we've had a great Star Wars movie yet since Disney has taken over. I think we will. I've liked both of them, but I think that your expectations, I want every Star Wars movie to be the best movies of all time, but I'm also not going to be silly in the fact that it's not going to happen every time. There's going to be a really bad one eventually. It's going to happen. There's going to be a really awesome one soon also. So.
I mean, I think too, another great example is Transformers. Like you guys have been watching us for any period of time. You know, every time a new Transformers movie is coming out, I drink the Kool-Aid. I get 100% bought into it. This one is going to be awesome. And I get completely psyched up for it, and I just totally know it's going to be great. And then every single time it lets me down.
Someone in the comments actually made a good point here about Josh Gad. He has already been in Star Wars Rebels. So there's a good possibility, actually, you guys might be right with the over on it. So.
All right. That'll do it for us, guys. Thanks so much for joining us today. I want to thank the guys sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting right here, Mr. Mark Ellis. Mark, where can people find you?
Schmoes Know live show this Wednesday on our YouTube channel, Schmoes Know. Subscribe if you will. And this weekend I'll be at Zany's Comedy Club in Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, that's where Andrew Jackson's from. You guys can go check me out. You can get tickets at markellislive.com. I'm there Thursday through Saturday.
Right over here, we got Kristian Harloff.
No, I can do you one better. You can find me at Bristol Farms buying Haagen-Dazs ice cream tonight. And after that, nothing else. Kristian Harloff on Twitter and Instagram.
Sitting over there, of course, we've got Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you online?
I have to ask, what flavor ice cream?
I just said peanut butter and chocolate, didn't I? Well, at least
Ooh.
it was in my head.
Say that.
It was in my head.
I thought you said vanilla and chocolate. When I hear Haagen-Dazs, I assume vanilla and chocolate. They don't really get experimental with the flavors the way a Ben & Jerry's will.
You guys can find me eating mint chocolate chip on Twitter.
I have
and
that
Instagram.
one too. That's in my fridge.
Ashley Mova, happy Monday, guys.
And, of course, Wendy Lee.
Now I want mint chocolate chip ice cream. You can find me on YouTube at The Movie Couple channel and on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at Wendy Lee Zaney.
You'll find me over at the movie theater watching Bahubali 2, the conclusion, with Ashley Mova sitting beside me trying to explain to me everything that's going on. You can also follow me on Facebook and on Twitter simply at John Campea. That'll do it for us, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget, Captain Learning drops a little bit later today. Keep your eyes open for that and let us know what you think. And until next time, Bye-bye.
Smart bomb.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.